So, better be on my best behaviour with some of my answers then.
All right. So, first question, who were you when you first got to the crossing?
Well, the thing is, I was really a nobody here in the United States. I had made a name for myself in the United Kingdom, touring up and down the country. I'd had large success in the last 15 years, really, but I've been acting for many years. Um, I toured mainly London, the City of London Theatre, the Gaiety Theatre, the Royal Albert Hall in later years. But when I came here and I stepped off the boat, one of the things I noticed was that nobody recognized me, and it felt strange and exciting at the same time because, to answer your question directly, I was a nobody. What do they say? A small fish in a big pond. Yes. Um, but of course, at home, back in the United Kingdom, I was voted most eligible bachelor, 1881. In Women's Weekly magazine. So, I couldn't walk down the street without people shouting out, Sir Dickie, Sir Dickie, give me a kiss, Sir Dickie. I bet after all that you just wrote, nobody.
No, I'm scribbling furiously.
Oh, lovely.
So obviously you have an acting background, and it is something that you enjoy. Did you feel like you were going to pursue acting when you came to the crossing? Was that one of your plans?
It always was, yes. When I stepped off the boat here in Saint Denis, I'd read about this theatre in a newspaper article back home in England. It's not the reason why I came here, but I was aware of this place. And having spoken to a lot of people around the city, they'd called out for something like this. In the last couple of years, there's never been a fully fledged play put on here at this theatre. There's been small shows and things, and I thought, well, I can bring my experiences from the United Kingdom here. So it was always the plan that I would continue my work.
I see. And it does seem like you are doing exactly that with your play opening up in just a couple weeks.
Yes, we're doing Chekhov's The Proposal. It's about 10, 12 years old, something like that. But well, it's a Russian comedy, so trying to bring Russian comedy to the theatre here in Saint Denis, it's interesting. I did have to. The correct term is cut the script. Not literally cut it, but I had to make some edits and amendments. I'm sure Chekhov wouldn't mind to sort of westernize it in some way, make sure the humour lands. So, yes. And it's only the first of many, you see. The idea is to continue to put on plays, and I co-own this theatre now. Myself and a young lady called Rose Besindra.
Oh, I've met Rose recently. She's lovely.
Oh, yes. People say she's a female version of moi. Yes.
I can see the similarities.
Yes. I think I've got a slightly better moustache.
Yes, I think yours is more pronounced.
Yes, quite. So, her and I, we run this place. But the whole theatre, the whole point of this theatre, it's a part of the community. We don't, we're non-profit charity organisation. So money that we make, we donate back into the community. You'll be aware that some of the eastern side of this city is quite high in terms of poverty.
Right.
There's soup kitchens and things, and you'll see a lot of the street urchins running around. So we invest our money back into the community by doing things like the drama club. And if anybody came to me and said, Sir Dickie, I'd like to put on a play, what do I need to do? We welcome them with open doors, and we pay the actors. We fund the whole thing. It's a charity, you see.
I see. Well, that is very lovely. Now I know that you're fairly new to the crossing, if I remember correctly. I think when we met, you had come maybe a month before. Is that right?
Yes,
Would you say that you've changed since coming to the crossing?
yes, I think so. I mean, culturally, I've had to adapt. It's been interesting, but I stepped off the boat. I had no friends, no family here, and I feel like I've made friends and family since I've been here, and well, yes, I feel very much at home. Changed? Probably not. I'm the same old Dickie. Um, I have become more patient with people, I think, because, we have a lot of people come to drama club who's never stepped up on a stage, never stepped into a theatre. And, of course, I have high expectations of my actors when we're doing
Hmm.
plays, but at drama club, it requires a bit more patience. I'm a bit calmer, but I think that might be, I'm getting older as well, you see.
Yes, well, I would say that starting community programs and working for the city is a great way to test your patience and also to let it grow.
Oh, yes. It took 10 weeks to finally confirm a cast for the proposal. It's only 3 people in the play as well, so.
My goodness, yes.
Yes, one of the cast, a young lady called Betty Moretti. She was cast initially into the role of Natalia Stepanova, but she unfortunately perished during her time here. Not here at the theatre, but yes, elsewhere.
Oh, in the crossing, you mean?
Yes, in the crossing, yes. Yes, we were doing a rehearsal one day and she didn't turn up. And the former owner of this theatre, she came in and I said, "Oh, have you seen Betty?" And she said, "Oh no, Betty died." Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, they didn't confirm where or how or anything like that. Apparently, it was all very top secret, so I just continued my work. Yes.
Well, that's awful. Did you have to find a replacement for her role?
We did, yeah. I had to do some more auditions, but I don't know if you're familiar with Ms. Bourgeois. She lives here in
Hmm.
Saint Denis. She took the role in the end.
I see. No, I don't think I've met her.
Oh, she's absolutely charming, a fine filly.
Let's see. Well, we talked about who you were before you got here, what you've been doing
Yes.
in the meantime. What would you say is Sir Dickie's plans for the future?
The future. But I still have a strong desire to, make people laugh, to entertain, to please. I get joy, as I said to you before, I get joy from standing up here and doing that, and seeing the joy in people's faces. The plan is to continue. The main focus, as I say, is always on the community and the charitable work we do here at the theatre. So the main goal for me is to continue to raise money for the city, raise money for those who don't have similar opportunities. Because, I did start out uh, from a very poor neighborhood many years ago now, and sort of got into acting per chance. But I've always committed to giving back in some way, And people might not think that about me, stood up here and doing Shakespeare, but it's always in my mind. It's always about getting people into the theatre and making sure people are fed and educated. Yes.
So basically, continuing your community efforts.
Yes. I should have just said that.
No, I like the detail.
Oh, lovely.
All right. Now, this next question can pertain to before you came to the crossing or even
Yes.
after you came to the crossing. What would you say is your greatest accomplishment?
I get to come I see. I'd say getting my knighthood. It's up there. Yes, I'd say it's the best thing. The knighthood, people always think that it's my public service to theatre, but the knighthood's actually for public service to to the community. You'll see a theme here. Back in London, I worked, before I came here, the last theatre that I worked for was a theatre called the Garrick Theatre. It's in the West End of London, and they produce sort of contemporary plays for the time, and it's a popular destination for audiences seeking sort of edgier, more experimental theatre. And again, that was the theatre where we got many of the children who, like me when I was younger, didn't really enjoy the educational way of things. So we offered it at the theatre. We opened the door to the children to come in and practice and play and do all sorts. And we opened a food kitchen there next to the theatre back in London, so that the students could eat at least 2 meals a day and enjoy themselves in a safe environment. And I had a letter from Buckingham Palace, you see, from Queen Victoria, saying, Dickie would like to honour you for the work that you did. Please come to the palace. And yes, I went, and when you get your knighthood, you have to sort of kneel in front of Queen Victoria. She passed away a couple of years ago now. And she said to me, Dickie, this is the sort of community outreach and work that we need in our fair city, and I shall talk to people about it. And a small tear rolled down my eye, and she pressed the sword upon my shoulder. And when she said, Arise, Sir Dickie, that was one of the proudest moments of my life. Yes.
I'm so glad you mentioned that because this whole time I thought that you were just insisting that people were polite to you, calling you Mr. or Sir.
Oh, no, I'm a knight of the realm, yes.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, there's only one other actor, John Irving, who could... He also has a knighthood, but he has his for services to drama, which I'd say is second fiddle to community work.
I would say so too. Now, you've been in lots of different environments. In the theater, you've also made a visit to the palace, it seems, and you've worked in the community. What would you say are some of the most important lessons you've learned?
Learning to love people, I think, has been particularly tough growing up. But more sort of professionally, I guess, I've learned to take opportunities, even if you doubt yourself. You know, if somebody asks you to come with them and accompany them on an adventure, then always do so. And if you believe in something enough, I feel that you can make it happen. And people always say to me, oh, Sir Dickie, what do you think the meaning of life is? You know, this large philosophical question. And as I'm not a religious man, I think the meaning of life is quite simple, you know, and this is what I've learned to love about being alive. I think the meaning of life is just to enjoy it, do things that make you happy, learn new things, experience new things, fall in love, and spend time with those people who love you and who you love. I think, you know, I don't think it's overly philosophical. I think that's it. And that's always the sort of mantra that I've inhibited since I can remember, really. Yes. So, yes.
That is very good advice, actually.
Yes.
And what would you say is the most pivotal moment you've had in your life, either positive or negative? Something that acted as an in-between, where there was a before, and then there was everything after.
Yes, in fact, I can remember quite vividly. I was working at a theatre in London called the City of London Theatre. I know, original, eh? And it burned down in 1868. So I'll give you my age here. I was 18 years old at the time. And another theatre took on the actors there. It was called the Gaiety Theatre. Yes. So in 1868, imagine me, Sir Dickie, 18-year-old. I'd been in a number of small plays at that time, you know, all small parts. but I was cast in the role of Mercutio in Romeo and Juliet. Are you familiar with the play?
Yes, I am.
This was my first major role, the first time I played Mercutio, and I was heralded as the rising star of the theatre then, and the offers came in thick and fast. Before that, I was always a bit worried about whether I could make it. But for me, that was it, and I don't think I ever stopped working for the next 20 years after that. But I guess the point is that somebody saw something in me and gave me the opportunity, and in many ways, like Romeo and Juliet, fate led me to this. And I think if it had not been for that, when I first walked into a theatre for the first time as a young child, that if I didn't do that, then it wouldn't have gone that way.
Hmm.
And yes, as I say, it's always about taking those opportunities. So yes, it was then I was cast into my first major role.
Out of curiosity, do you remember that person who casted you in the role?
Yes, it was a good friend of mine. His name was James.
So essentially, you can credit James for the opportunity, ushering you
Yes,
through that gate into famedom and stardom.
yes. His name was James Reese, and this is awkward. He was my lover at the time. Yes. Uh,
My goodness.
I know, and I've experienced many types of love in my time. I've had relationships with women and men, but he was slightly older than me, not too old, 3 or 4 years older, and he was actor, and he put a good word in for me, and it sort of kicked off the whole thing, so to speak.
Now tell me, was your love affair as torrid as one of the plays?
And no, it was a wonderful time, really. It's it's full of lovely memories, but also regret, and yes, yes, it
Hmm.
he passed away before he turned 30.
Oh my.
Yes, um, tuberculosis, and yes, there's not a day goes by when I don't think about him. Yes,
That is quite tragic. Well, instead of torrid, maybe tragic.
yes, in many ways. It was quite challenging, and when he was rather unwell, I wasn't particularly nice to him, and until he told me, of course, he was always a bit weak, and yeah, so there was a couple of times where I was particularly horrid, which I regret. So I do sometimes, you know, remember those times, but yes, yes,
Hmm.
mainly love and happiness. Yes.
Yes, well, going back to the lessons that you've learned that you just said, remembering the good times and remembering the love and the people you loved. Those are
Yes.
the more lasting and positive emotions.
Oh yes, yes. The sort of feeling of grief about him, not being here, that's sort of gone over the years. And now I just, you know, mainly I'd say, most of the time it's fond memories. I'll often be riding along by myself, and something will just remind me, and bring a smile to my face.
Hmm. Is there anything you would change about yourself, if you could?
Yes, I think sometimes, especially when I'm in the theatre, I try to be the life and soul of the party, and I think some people think I can be slightly overbearing, so I guess that might be something I might want to change. I try to get everybody involved, you see, and sometimes I think people just prefer to be quite introverted, and there's me trying to get people to dance and all of that sort of things. And not everybody wants to be the main character, I guess. So I'd say that's one of the things. And although I was talking about drama club, we had this very nervous young lady, Miss Turner, come here. And I'm always shouting at her, get up on the stage, come on, get involved, And I just feel like I can be sometimes too overbearing because I'm so passionate. But I tried to rein that in, yes.
I think that's a better way of saying it. Not letting your passion be perceived as overbearing.
Yes, indeed. When we were in Guamar the other day, and I think Mr. Bradshaw had taken you away to talk about how to judge the diving competition. While we were waiting, the people that were left there, I got them all to play a little game, and some of them were very awkward and uncomfortable, and it's things like that. I just think to myself, oh, stop it, Dickie. Nobody wants to do this.
Oh, no, I disagree. I think there should be more people like you because I've seen the same. Lots of people are awkward or don't know how to socialize, and so sometimes it takes someone to suggest something or to get something going or saying, okay, we're doing this now.
Yes, maybe. I just look around, and of course there's me, just, let's do this, all of this stuff, and people are just stood there sort of rolling their eyes, not saying anything. Yes, but yes, I always try to get people to come along with the journey, and I guess sometimes they just don't want to. That's probably the best way to sum it up.
Let's see. Okay, I'm finishing my thought there.
Yes, of course.
All right, next question. Is there something about you, a fact or an interesting tidbit that other people wouldn't know just by looking at you?
Probably my ability to love everybody, so to speak. Although some people just assume I'm homosexual, but yes. No, I think I think the main thing is what people probably assume about me is that I wear nice clothes and I speak in a certain way, but I'm not a rich man. I have enough to get by, but anything I make goes to the community. I received no education, and yes, I mean the first 15 years of my life was poverty, and I think people don't see that, and that's why I like to give back, so to speak.
Yes, I think that is something that people wouldn't see about you. Also, with you being quite successful.
Oh yes. It was all luck, but yes, the success. People assume that I'm rich and, by the way I dress and speak, etc. So, yes.
I take it that takes some. I'm just thinking about someone I used to know who was, I suppose, pretty similar to that. They had a certain number of items in their closet, and they just kept them up very nicely. Taking them to tailors and patching them up and treating them nicely so that they last quite a while, and that way they could use their money for other things.
Yes, quite right. Yes, I learned to be thrifty. When the money did start coming in, I don't know, it made me feel uncomfortable, like I didn't deserve it. And I thought about people. When I was very young, of course, hardly had anything. So that's why this drive has always come to sort of give back. You see, because having lots of money, and I have had lots of money in the past, is it makes me feel uncomfortable, dirty in some ways. So that's why I like to do my charity work, you see.
Yes. And what would you say is your favorite thing about yourself?
I think it's after all these years, I must be 62 now. Oh God, 62, Dickie, where did it all go? I've still got my strong desire to make people laugh and to entertain. That'll die with me. I think. I've never gotten bored. I've never wanted to throw it all in and live a quiet life. This was my destiny to do this job, and that's what I love. I love that after 50 years of doing this, in one way or another, I still have the strong desire to do that, to make people laugh, to make people smile, to entertain. And at the end of the day, when I take my hat off and put my head on the pillow, it's I go to bed with a smile on my face, knowing that I've done that.
That is quite nice. And my final question, if it was possible to go back in time, is there something you would have changed about your life?
Oh, sorry. Oh, I do apologize. I slipped there on something.
Oh, that's all right.
Oh dear, you dropped your book.
I'll pick it up again.
Oh, sorry, what was the question?
Well, actually, I think I see what the problem is. You might want to get that board looked at. I think you might have tripped over that.
Oh, yes.
Let me see. All right. Oh, that's right. Last question is, if it was possible to go back in time, is there something you would have changed about your life?
Yes, I think I would have said all the things I should have said and wanted to say to those who are no longer with us. You know, my poor mama, she died when I was 15 years old, and James died when he was 20, 28, 29, something like that. And I think if I was able to go back to those days, just thinking about them now, I think, I'd say to myself, Dickie, tell them exactly how you feel. Tell them you love them. And I think that would probably have brought me more peace as I grew older. Yes. So I guess the sort of, the moral of the story is, while those people are around and you love them, you need to tell them you love them. And you need to tell them that you're sorry. And never waste any time with them or anything like that. Yes.
Without even knowing them, I think they would know. I think they knew.
Do you think?
I think so. There are certain ways of saying that we love someone without saying the words, if you know what I mean.
Yes. Yes, I think so. Thank you.
Well, what a final question. Is there anything you'd like to add about your life or that you would want to be included in a biography?
No, I don't think so. I mean, if I guess my advice would be to anyone who reads the thing is, set yourself goals and aim for them and go for them. To be passionate and be the best you can be. That's the only other thing I'd say. If someone wanted to have this old fool's advice, yes.
I think that's good advice.
Yes, lovely.
Well, thank you very much, Sir Dickie.
Yes, you're very welcome. And do you think I'll see you for the play on the 18th?
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Oh, lovely. Do you know if you'll be bringing anybody? Only I will reserve some seats for you.
I might bring one person, so I would say reserve one seat at least.
Yes, okay. Yes.
And I'm checking my calendar book right now. It's the 18th, and it's also at 5 p.m. Is that right?
Yes, at the same time that we met here, yes. Someone said something about can't be too dusty. I just smiled and nodded and whatever. Yes, okay. I walked away rolling my eyes. But yes, So it'd be 5 p.m.
All right. Yes, I'm very much looking forward to it.
Oh, lovely. And there's no ticket price, of course, but I think I told you this before. But what we're doing is, if anybody would like to make a donation to the theatre, that gets reinvested, then people will do so. But there's no sort of ticket price or anything like that.
Yes. Well, I, for one, would like to support the community, so I'll be sure to bring a donation.
Oh, lovely. Thank you. Yes, thank you. Well, lovely.
Well, I'll give you back your time. I know you said you had a meeting coming up. This give you a
Oh,
chance
yes.
to, take a breather before meetings.
Yes, indeed. And are you here in the city for long, or are you heading back to Guabaha?
I will be here for quite some time. I think all my meetings today are in Saint Denis.
Oh, interesting.
And then
What else have you got planned?
for the meetings,
Yes.
oh my, I have, let's see, Mr. Way, and, let's see, who else? I'm trying to search my memory.
Oh, yes.
Oh, that's right, Tiny Tony too.
Oh, Tiny Tony too.
Well, Tiny Tony as well.
Oh, right. Oh, there's not a second one, is there, for Christ's sake?
If there is, it would be news to me.
Yes, indeed. And when will the book be published, might I ask?
Oh, yes, so as far as what you can expect from here, I am going to be conducting meetings and writing out the biographies. After that, I will assemble them in some semblance of an order that makes sense. I think
Yes.
I'm going to have multiple volumes, though. And before publication, I'll be sure to show you what I've written, just so you can vet it and make sure all the information is correct and that you approve.
Oh, yes. Oh, that would be lovely, yes.
All right. Well, as always, if you need anything or if you'd like to get in touch, do telegram me.
Yes, we'll do. And thank you so much for coming to meet me and conduct that. I feel like we forced you to interview me when we stepped off the boat there in Guam. Yes, it's,
No,
yes.
not at all. I'm glad that I did.
Oh, lovely. And it's so wonderful to see you again, and hopefully I'll see more of each other, and see you in a couple of weeks for the show.
Yes. Oh, I'm sure we'll run across each other before then.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Okay, well, good luck with
Thank you.
whatever you're doing. Yes,
Yes. You have a good rest of your day.
yes, cheerio.